start SST chapter number 6 डिवोशनल पाथ्स टू द डिवाइन, यानी कि ईश्वर तक पहुंचने का, यानी कि भक्ति का मार्ग, भक्ति का पथ, कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं इसको. लेट्स बिगिन. In the early medieval period of Indian history, two parallel movements in Hinduism and Islam evolved. तो जो है, जो हमारा मध्यकालीन जो समय था, उसमें दो पैरेलल मूवमेंट्स हुए, हिंदू और मुस्लिम का. दीज मूवमेंट्स वर कॉल्ड भक्ति एंड सूफी. तो इन मूवमेंट को क्या बोला जाएगा? हिंदू का भक्ति हुआ और मुस्लिम का क्या हुआ? सूफी. सो रिस्पेक्टिवली, एंड दे रीच देयर पीक इन द 15th and 16th सेंचुरी. तो ये दो मूवमेंट थे, भक्ति और सूफी, और इनका जो पीक टाइम 15वीं और 16वीं सदी में ना एक बहुत हाई लेवल पे पहुंची ये दोनों चीजें. द सेंस ऑफ दीज मूवमेंट्स preached about universal brotherhood among the common masses through songs, poems and hymns. Both these movements prospered side by side without any conflict. On the contrary, they influenced each other's religious ideas and practices. Messages of the भक्ति एंड सूफी संत. अब भक्ति का जो है, भक्ति और सूफी संतों के क्या क्या मैसेजेस थे, क्या क्या संदेश थे. द मेडिवल पीरियड saw a huge change in the practice of worshipping God. Different forms were adopted to perform rituals such as singing, bhajans, meditation or dhyan. The system also talked about the idea of birth, death and rebirth. According to it, one could get freedom from the cycle of birth and death through one's actions for deeds. The freedom from the cycle of birth and death was called moksha or salvation, and it could only be attained by devotion to God. तो क्या था? The system also talked about the idea of birth, death and rebirth. क्या होता है? जन्म, मृत्यु और फिर दोबारा से जन्म. तो इन चीजों को लेके बहुत ही ज्यादा जो चक्र इन्होंने खोजा भक्ति मार्ग में जाने के बाद, कि जन्म है, मृत्यु है और फिर क्या होता है? फिर पुनर्जन्म होता है, फिर दोबारा जन्म होता है. तो इस चीज पे इनको लेके ये चलता था. दिस पाथ ऑफ प्योर एंड अनडाइंग डिवोशन वाज कॉल्ड भक्ति. बहुत ही पवित्र और बहुत ही सच्चा जो रास्ता था, क्या था? भक्ति का. अनदर फिलोसफी दैट गेन पॉपुलरिटी एट द टाइम वाज सूफीज्म. इट इज अ टर्म गिवन टू इस्लामिक mysticism that was a result of Hindu, Greek, yogic and Buddhist religious ideas and beliefs. So Bhakti and Sufi sant preached to the masses to watch their deeds in present life. They believed that only good deeds could bring them closer to Almighty. Virtues were more important than ritual deeds or कर्मास determine the quality of life after death too. Bhakti or Sufi movement were open to all and accepted all. People irrespective of their caste, creed or religion, all men and women are equal. सभी जो है उस समय पे क्या माना जाता था कि सभी धर्मों के, चाहे औरतें हैं, चाहे बच्चे हैं, चाहे मेल हैं, आदमी हैं, वो क्या है? वो सब इक्वल है, बराबर है, कोई छोटा बड़ा नहीं है इसमें. These saints popularized singing भजन. जो ये संत थे वो किस लिए प्रसिद्ध हुए? उनके भजन के लिए, कीर्तन के लिए, कव्वाली, ठीक है, and even repeating the name of God in silence. There was no formal method of praying. The role of Brahmins or ulemas was minimized. Now there was a personal relation between the worshipper and the God. भक्ति मूवमेंट emergence in South India. अब जो भक्ति आंदोलन है, कहाँ की बात हो रही है? साउथ इंडिया, दक्षिण भारत में. द टर्म भक्ति मीन्स डिवोशन एंड लव फॉर गॉड. भक्ति का मतलब क्या होता है? भगवान के लिए प्यार और समर्पण. द अर्ली मेडिवल पीरियड सॉ द राइज एंड स्प्रेड ऑफ द भक्ति मूवमेंट इन साउथ इंडिया, विच लेटर स्प्रेड टू नॉर्थ इंडिया. Bhakti movement was led in South India by two streams of popular saints called Narayana and Alvars. The movement attracted people from all sections of society due to its emphasis on simple means and practices to attain salvation. The Nayanars worshipped Shiv and were called Shaivites, and the Alvaras worshipped Vishnu and were called Vaishnavites. ठीक है. By the 15th century, Both worshippers of Shiva and Vishnu were popular in North India as well. The Bhakti Sant preached the message of love through their hymns. They were followers of either the Saguna school, believers of God with a form, or the Nirguna school, believers of a formless God of Bhakti. They were very popular with the masses because they preached in popular languages such as Tamil, Kannada, Marathi, Hindi and Telugu. Their teachings were simple and drew inspiration from the Bhagavad Purana and the Bhagavad Gita. अर्ली भक्ति संत यानी कि शंकराचार्य, अर्ली मतलब उस समय के जो साधु थे भक्ति के, कौन थे? सबसे पहले शंकराचार्य. He was one of the greatest religious leaders who propounded the philosophy of Advaita non-dualism, है ना. तो ये जो है सबसे महान धार्मिक नेता थे ये, ठीक है, और अद्वैता के. He was born in Kerala in the 9th century, है ना, 9वीं सदी में इनका जन्म हुआ था केरला में. The doctrine of Advaita Veda advocated that God is unique and that God and the created world are one. He taught that salvation was possible through devotion to God, strength by knowledge. It was called Janan Marg. He established 4 mathas or center. 4 जो मठ थे उन पे ये इन्होंने वो किया, रुके, और सेंटर ऑफ हिंदू कल्चर इन द 4 कॉर्नर्स ऑफ इंडिया. नंबर 1 ज्योतिर्मठ ऑफ बद्रीनाथ इन नॉर्थ, ठीक है. सेकेंड इज शारदा पीठ एट द्वारका इन द वेस्ट, Govardhan Mutt at Puri in the east, Sringeri Mutt in the south. Ramanujan, he preached during the 12th century. He treated all human beings as equal. According to him, everyone could, by the worship of God, attain salvation of Nirvana. Saints of Maharashtra. Maharashtra witnessed the rise of a great number of saint poets from the 13th to 17th century. Janeshwar, Namdev, Eknath, Tukaram, Sakubai and the family of Chokhamela were some of the important Bhakti sons of Maharashtra. Here the regional tradition of Bhakti focused on Vithala, a form of Vishnu. These saints rejected all outward forms of ritualism, caste differences and emphasis on brotherhood, oneness and humanity. They believed in living the life of a householder, earning their living and helping their fellow beings. He was a prominent spiritual leader who founded the Ravidasi sect. ठीक है, he criticized Brahmanical practices and motivated his followers to challenge caste discrimination. जातीय भेदभाव को ये नहीं मानते थे. Okay, Shankar Deva founded the new Vaishnavati sector called Ek Sarana Nam Dharma in Assam. He was a great social reformer and creative genius. Madhvacharya was one of the pioneers of the Vedanta philosophy during the medieval period. He propounded the philosophy of Tattva Veda, popularly called Dvaita or dualistic school of Hindu philosophy. Nimbarka. He was another great pioneer of medieval Vedanta philosophy. He initiated the school of Dvaita or duality in unity. भक्ति मूवमेंट इन नॉर्थ इंडिया. अब जो भक्ति आंदोलन है कहां पे पहुंचा? उत्तर भारत में. The period after the 13th century was marked with a new wave of bhakti movement in North India. It was also the time when new professionals, peasants, craftsmen, laborers and traders were emerging. These new professional classes were open and willing to listen to the teaching and ideas of the Bhakti saint and thus help widespread appeal. Some of the well-known saints who propagated the Bhakti movement in North India were Chaitanya, Sant Ramananda, Tulsidas, Meenabai, Kabir and others. Sant Ramananda. He was a worshipper of Rama. He opened his door to all without any distinction of caste, creed, or gender. He spread the message of Hindu-Muslim unity, universal brotherhood, tolerance, and complete surrender to one God. Among his disciples were Kabir, Ravidas, and Pipa. He was the first Bhakti saint to preach in Hindu. He was a Bhakti saint who popularized the Bhakti movement in Bengal, Assam, and Odisha. He was a devotee of Krishna and emphasized universal love as the first step towards God. He believed that one can experience God's existence through love song and dance. Kirtan, devotional songs sung in church accompanied by instrumental music were a feature of his congregation. ठीक है, तो इन्होंने जो है बहुत ही कृष्ण के भक्त थे ये, और भक्ति सत्संग कीर्तन इन चीजों से ना क्या करते थे, अपनी उसको फैलाते थे भक्ति को. तुलसीदास, he was a reformer and philosopher who was known for his devotion to Lord Rama. He wrote the रामचरितमानस. तो तुलसीदास ने क्या लिखी थी? रामचरितमानस. मीराबाई, ये कृष्ण जी की भक्ति. She was also an important figure of the Bhakti movement. She was married into the ruling family of Mewar. She was an ardent devotee of Krishna. कृष्ण की बहुत बड़ी भक्ति. She composed various devotional songs known as Meera's Bhajan, which are popular even today. Meerabai spent most of her time in the company of the Krishna devotees. Islam and Sufism. Islam propagated strict monotheism during 8th and 9th centuries. Religious scholars developed different aspects of the Shariat, holy law, and theology of Islam. Sufis were Muslim mystics who were not in favor of these laws. They often rejected the elaborate rituals and codes of behavior demanded by Muslim religious scholars. Sufis preached love and devotion to God, simplicity, equality, and compassion towards all human beings. They, along with Bhakti Sant, helped to bring the two communities, Hindu and Muslim, together. People often attributed Sufi masters with miraculous powers that could relieve others of their illness and troubles. These saints lived in Khanqa of hospice, which were usually a masjid or a madrasa. The tomb of Dargah of a Sufi sant soon became a place of pilgrimage where thousands of people of all faiths thronged. Kabir was the greatest poet of the Bhakti movement. He was born in Kashi, now Varanasi. In 1440 CE, he weaved clothes and sold it in the market. वो कपड़े बुनते थे और बाजार में बेचते थे. Kabir believed in one God who was formless. His main goal was to until all caste. He was against the differences based on religion and caste. वो जो है different धर्म में और जातियों में कभी विश्वास नहीं रखते थे, क्योंकि इंसान तो सब एक ही है ना, सबको एक जैसा बनाया है. He preached that Hindu और Muslim, Brahman और शूद्र, रिच और पुअर वर चिल्ड्रन ऑफ द सेम गॉड हु वाज द सुप्रीम बीइंग. यानी कि ब्राह्मण हो, क्षत्रिय हो, शूद्र हो, गरीब हो, अमीर हो, सभी भगवान के बच्चे है ना, सब इंसान है, तो सबको बराबर मानना चाहिए. ठीक है. सो कबीर कंपोज शॉर्ट पोएम दैट ही यूज्ड टू सिंग. दीज पोएम्स आर कलेक्टेड इन बिजाक. He also preached ahimsa and denounced causing harm to animals or killing animals for food. His followers are known as Kabir Panthis. He died in 1518 CE. Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak was born in Talwandi, now in Pakistan. In 1469 CE, he is the founder of Sikhism. Guru Nanak too preached the worship of one God, ek Omkar. The teachings and philosophy of Guru Nanak consist of three basic elements: a leading charismatic personality, the Guru, ideology or organization. Before Guru Nanak died, 1539, he appointed Lehna Ji, one of his followers, as his successor. Lehna Ji later come to be known as Guru Angad Dev. He compiled the teachings of Guru Nanak with his own hands in Gurumukhi. The three successors of Guru Angad Dev wrote many compositions. These compositions were put together by the fifth Guru. Guru Arjan Dev, the writing of Sant Kabir, Bhakt Namdev, Guru Tegh Bahadur and Sheikh Farid were added to this compilation. This compilation later became the holy scripture of the Sikhs. It is known as Guru Granth Sahib. So the all topics are covered in this chapter here. I hope you all are very well understand and enjoy also. So we will meet you in next class. Thank you.